All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live. As everybody knows, normally we're on Monday nights, but due to some work commitments on my part, we had to switch to Tuesday nights. Hopefully, come November, we'll be able to switch back to Monday nights. If not, it'll be a little bit closer to at or about the first of the year. But we've got an awesome guest we're going to be talking to in just a few minutes. But before we kick off our conversation with the one and only new queen of Instagram, I think, DINA PARISE. Obviously, everybody in Florida thinking about you. Hopefully, everybody that is safe. Hell of a lot of damage, more damage than I honestly thought there was going to be. Obviously, Fort Myers and Sanibel Island are basically wiped off the map. So just from all of us to all of you, please stay safe and best of luck with the recovery. Also, Division I comp eliminator racer Frankie Aragona is battling some health issues again. What reappeared, and you can see it right here. I just need to slide back a little bit so you can see it. Win lights for Frankie, hashtag Aragona Strong. So please go on to our Facebook page. You can download the image on there and share it to your page, your friend's page, your friend's enemies, your friend's enemies' friends, enemies page. We want to get the word out for Frank that everybody is behind him, and best of luck with everything that he's dealing with. We are proud to say also that Pete's retirement home just outside of the Tampa area is safe, as well as the flying airbrush has survived Ian as well. He was holed up in Casa Senka for a week or two, but everything down there in their neck of the woods is good. So again, one lights for Frankie. Everybody in Florida, we're thinking about you. And onward to this wonderful woman that has this really cool sticker on the side of her pro mod with her face on it, and it says spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball.
Of course, I'm talking about DINA PARISE. Good evening, DINA. Thank you for coming on Racers News.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. So obviously your introduction to the sports world went from one extreme to a whole nother universe over here with your pro mod. And of course, I'm talking about the fact that you were a professional ice skater long before you got behind the wheel of a race car, correct?
Yes, I was a professional figure skater. I skated for the Ice Capades. For those of you who may be a little too young to know what that is, look it up. It was an ice skating variety show, as we would call it. It was very world renowned, actually, which I'm very proud to say that I got to skate for that show. It was a super cool job. I did that, way back when. It's been quite some time. And there was quite an amount of time too between the time that I skated for the ice show and when I started drag racing. So I actually didn't start drag racing until I was in my 30s. So there was a little span of time there, but I always loved motorsports. So growing up on Long Island, there was quite a bit of motorsports on Long Island growing up, be it drag racing, roundy round, and not anything really to speak of now, but it was a great place to grow up. And, I was deep seated in motorsports then. So I did have some experience with it, although no one in my family raced. My brother Augie, he passed away in May, but my brother Augie actually did race circle track in South Boston Speedway, which is in Virginia. I think it's Virginia or North Carolina. And he actually was track champion there back in like 2000, I think. So my brother Augie raced cars.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What was it like traveling around the world with the Ice Capades? Did it like broaden your horizons, I guess, and kind of say, all right, there is more to the world than the States, there is a whole lot out there to see.
Well, I say it was world renowned because it was known around the world, although we only traveled through the United States and Canada. I love my friends to the north, and they know that. But we also did our cast was from all around the world. We had cast members from everywhere. Actually, we're just talking today on a live that I did on TikTok. If you follow me on social media, I'll do lives on TikTok or various social media. And I happen to tell a story today about a friend of mine who was from South Africa. So I have friends from all over the world that I worked with in Ice Capades, which was really cool. It was great getting to travel throughout the United States. I mean, I was 22 years old, and we got to see different places and got to meet a lot of really cool people. Got to meet some really creepy people too. I mean, there was that. What's really funny though, there is kind of a correlation between traveling in drag racing and traveling in the ice show, was that we would go to these different venues every week, kind of the same as if you were drag racing, let's just say if you race every week, but either every race or every show that we did a show every week, but say every race that you do, you would go to these different venues or say different racetracks. You would see a lot of the same people because, you see a lot of the same workers at the racetrack. Sometimes you see a lot of the same fans. We would sometimes see a lot of the same fans too, which was funny if we repeated a city, say next time you went. And it was just, it became very comfortable sometimes. If you repeated a city, you just got comfortable with certain people. You got to see the same people over and over. And it's the same thing, like I said, with drag racing. And like with drag racing, we travel with this kind of the same people in the series that you're in. Same thing with the skating. We traveled with the same people. We all work together, so we all travel together. And it's, one big family, like with what you're doing with Frank, racing is one big family. We're competitive, but we all take care of one another. So it was basically the same theory then.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's fast forward a little bit.
Mhm.
Let's go from traveling around the country, ice skating with the Ice Capades to how did you get behind the wheel of a race car?
Yeah. Well, this is very much to my husband's dismay. So after I stopped skating, there was years passed through there. I actually got married and divorced from my first husband and then met Andrew, and he had built a Camaro, a 67 Camaro, about 1100 horsepower. It was blown, had a BDS blower on it, Holly carbs, the whole deal. And he started racing that car, and then he decided he was going to run. Well, actually, I should back up a little bit. The very first time, I had never been to a drag race live. This was my very first time I had seen a live drag race. We went to Maple Grove Raceway. It was a Super Chevy show. Roger Gustin, they were the best. Roger Gustin, Super Chevy, best show ever. And I watched that car go down the racetrack, and I was like in awe. And it was the people, it was electric. I love the camaraderie. I love the sights, the sounds, the smell. I loved everything about it. I fell in love with the sport. And a friend of ours turned to my husband and said, I think you're in a little bit of trouble. And he goes, oh man, why? What? She doesn't like it? He goes, no, I think she likes it a little too much. And within, I think about a year and a half or so, I was in Frank Hawley drag racing school.
Oh,
Yeah, and he had built a pro mod, and then I stepped into the Camaro. Yeah,
very cool.
I guess.
So take us through that part up to where you got Stella.
Well, it's quite a bit, quite a span of time actually, because so that was around, oh my gosh, I can't even remember, to the early 2000s, and ran super gas for a couple of years, and then my husband built his first pro mod, which was the 53 Corvette. And then I had said to him, I really want to step up. And with that, he was thinking top sportsman. I was not. And he found this beautiful Camaro RSSS body, all steel body, beautiful. And he presented me this body, and I'm like, that's nice. And he's like, what? And I was like, well, like, I really want to go pro mod racing, and I couldn't really go pro mod racing with this all steel body. So my brother Charlie actually wound up taking that body. He bought that body from my husband, and they together did that as a project car, which my brother still has. And he takes it to shows and stuff on Long Island. And we wound up getting a 63 split window coupe. And we had his and hers Corvettes at the time. So we ran two cars for a while. And then we had a great sponsor, and that company wound up getting sold. So we lost that sponsor, and it just became too difficult to run two cars. We wound up getting an offer. Well, it was an offer. We were in talks with Rob Matthias, who had developed this Cadillac body. And he said, the only person I can see driving this car is your wife. So I actually have the number one body off of his, I don't know what you want to call it, but I actually have the number one. And I think John Stanley has the number two body, the Cadillac. We wound up getting rid of the 63 and the 53 to field Stella. And that was in 2000, and we debuted her in 2014.
Oh, wow.
So, and then won the IHRA championship in 2015.
Oh, wow. You didn't mess around. You went right for it.
Yeah. We were pretty fortunate. It was a tough year for us. It was hard, but we were fortunate that we wound up coming home with the championship for sure.
Cool. So with the obvious demise of IHRA over the years from then, what did you do as far as competing? Did you do like match race type stuff, or did you get involved with another series?
We did a few match races. We ran some NMCA races. NMCA was one of the series that we ran, probably in like 16, 17, probably the majority of the series, that we weren't even in the points chase because we didn't run the entire thing. We just didn't have the budget to run the entire series, but and so we really haven't run a full series since then. So that's what our goal is, to work towards running for, points on possibly another championship. So 2023, we're going to get our feet wet again, and hopefully maybe by 24 be able to run for another championship.
Very cool. Well, I have to say it's an awesome looking car.
Thank you. Thank you. She's pretty.
Yeah. Now, obviously, with kind of stepping back a little bit from the racing side of the universe, I think it's safe to say that you stepped away from racing a little bit, but you brought your social media presence to another level.
Well, I mean, I didn't step away really because I wanted to. Between
Right.
COVID and we had to make some changes. So we're working our way back. I mean, for all intents and purposes, we are a grassroots team. It's my husband and myself. Dave Jordan has worked with us as our crew chief. We consider between Dave and Andrew, crew chief, car chief together. Dave has worked with us since we had the 2 cars. So it's almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Consistently. So, we'd love to be able to work with Dave again, of course. He's out doing other things now. And it's a labor of love. We're working hard to get back where we want to be, but we will not come back unless we know that we are ready to be there. So we have gotten a new trailer, new to us, not new. It's a 2001. If you guys look through my videos, you'll see the progress, the work that my husband's done. It's amazing. It looks great. He redid the lounge. It was actually an old NASCAR trailer. So it's a little different than what we're used to utilizing. And it's super cool. Lots of storage, which is great because we don't usually have that much storage. So that's
Right.
nice. And we're very we want to make sure that we're ready to be where we need to be, because we want to be able to come out and we want to be able to be a force to reckon with. We don't want to kind of do anything halfway. That's just not how we want to be.
Right. Cool. Now, when you say hopefully by 24 getting out and running for a championship,
Mhm.
are you talking NHRA? Are you talking the
I mean, that would be a great goal. We just want to see how things pan out. We've run NHRA before, back in 2010, when Roger Burgess had first brought Pro Mod back to NHRA. We actually ran NHRA when it was the Get Screen America program. So, that was quite a bit ago, but we have run it. It's been some time. And I love quarter mile. That's how I started. That's what I would love to get back to. I love to run it out the back door for sure. So if that's what we can do, great. If we decide to go another route, then we decide to go another route. I also love the Midwest Drag Racing Series. That's a great series. I love all of the cars that they have there. I love everything about it. So we're just gonna wait and see where we want to land.
where you fall. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Now, keeping on with your Instagram and your social media presence, you're probably the most visible grassroots drag racers out there.
Really? Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
And now, personally, I love the way you pick on your husband.
I hear that.
I say that because in
that.
that room over there is somebody who does pretty much the same thing to me.
Yeah, I hear that.
I think it's an absolute riot to watch the videos that you do.
You should see the stuff that doesn't make it. There's stuff that I will film and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can't, because I have a lot of youngsters that I know that follow Junior Dragster, people that we deal with that I know their kids follow me. I know that we meet fans and I always tell them, all my stuff is kid friendly. So there have been times where I've been like, oh yeah, no, I can't.
Yeah, maybe not on this one.
I almost feel like I need to get like a little channel that like this is for the adults and not and just in a like adult language kind of thing, because there definitely are. Look, we're Italian, we're from New York, and it's just that's probably all I need to say there.
Yeah.
That's all I need to say.
It cracks me up. Like the car dealership one, I chuckled through the whole thing.
Well, it's funny. And I had people will come on there and they're like, well, why do you take him with you? I'm like, first of all, because it's fodder and it's entertainment. That's why I take him everywhere with me. I mean, I have a video from when I went to the supermarket the other day. He wanted to come with me because it was nighttime and there's just certain places I don't go here by myself at night anymore. I just don't. And I was never that person, but I am now. And I am very type A and I'm a little OCD. So when I go to the supermarket, I got to start in the same place because if I don't, I forget stuff. So I have to, that's just me. But I'm like that in my racing. I have to say, but I'm like that in my racing. If I put my safety equipment on, my safety equipment all goes on, everything, my left boot goes on my boots go on at the same time. They have to put the ring on. It has to be this one for like, I'm just that way. And so I have a video from the supermarket because he's like, I had to come all the way over here because you had to start over here. I said, well, you wanted to come with me. You could have sat in the car. Let me do what I got to do. But that's our complete relationship. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Now it's funny you talk about like when you're getting, geared up to get in the race car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a racer on the planet in any form, circle track, road racing, drag racing, hot air balloon racing, whatever the case may be, that is not like that. I have to wear these Nomex socks. I have to put this leg in first. I have to, same exact thing, everything you just described. I definitely think that is like a ginormous race car driver thing.
I have had people tell me that I don't know why I never thought about that. I've had people tell me they've never thought about it. So I'm very methodical in my driving too. I'm very methodical. Like there'll be times when my husband will say to me, why'd you hit the chutes? You didn't need to hit the chutes. I'm like, it was just my brain. Just my brain.
Programmed.
It was just my brain, yeah. And it just, you go through those motions. So I'm type A, like I said, methodical. I like my muscles to have that memory, especially God forbid something goes wrong. I want my arms to be able to know where they got to be.
Right.
I don't want them to forget where they need to be. That's very important. Don't forget where you got to be.
That's awesome. Let's tell us a little bit more about Stella, the Pro Mod Caddy.
So Stella she's considered a 2013 Cadillac CTSV. For those of you who don't know, actually, so the other day, I think it was Monday, it was National Name Your Car Day, which is very funny. So I had done an article for this not a company, but it's a website called MindCrowd, and they do a lot with Alzheimer's research. And for those of you who don't know, and many of you probably don't, my grandma had Alzheimer's, and her name was Stella. So the car is named after my grandma, Stella. She was a fiery Italian, and she was a redhead, so hence the red car. And she never had a license, never drove a car. So I wonder, with her up there, what she actually thinks about me naming a race car after her, considering she never drove a car in her whole entire life. But yeah, so that's where the name came from. She has, it's a 526 Hemi, 1471 blower. I have a Bruno with a Lenko. It's a 3-speed. If you look on some of, if you go on my YouTube, which is terrible, I really need to tear it down and redo it. But the very first video on my YouTube is actually a tour around the cockpit. It's a Bruno with a Lenko 3-speed, and I still shift. I know a lot of people have auto shift. I prefer to have something to do. I get distracted very easily. Just kidding. I like to have something to do. And I run a converter, not a clutch. So my trans brake is actually a clutch pedal.
Oh.
So way back when, 150 years ago, when we ran the Get Screened America Pro Mod series in NHRA, the rule was, because mostly then in 2010, 2009, 10, 11, mostly then everybody was running a clutch. So the rule was you could run a converter, but you had to leave off a clutch pedal. So I just never took the clutch pedal out. I like leaving off the clutch pedal. I think it's fun. I like it. So I left it in.
That's interesting. I'd never heard that. I could definitely see how that'd be something you like, especially being in the cockpit, because you're like, it gives you the old school gear jamming feel to it, because you get yourself in the lights, and then you get yourself set, and you got to dump that proverbial clutch, as it were, to go.
Yeah, and I wish I had the levers. I just have a push button, but I wish I had, but I push button, and I do have a foot brake because my feet are smaller. So I think that's the only reasons I have room for it. But I very rarely use it. Once in a while, if it surges a little bit, I'll use the foot brake just because it's a little bit easier, to hold it. But, and I also have, we changed the brake from a pull brake to a push brake.
Oh, okay.
Hell of a lot easier. So the first car was a pull brake, and there were times, like, let's just say, we had the idle set and it started to surge a little bit, and I'm like pulling myself out of the seat, trying to hold on to it, if I'm staging the car. And this way you're pushing yourself, you have yourself to push back into the seat, so much easier. And actually we had seen, I think it was John Force, that they had seen John Force, and they were like, he had push brake. Like, well, that sounds a lot easier. So yeah, so we have push brake.
Yeah, because you're much more supported with your body. Like you said.
Yes, so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. I will tell you the things you like. There's things you learn something every run, like things I learned along the way, like, when they change and they put the Leahy system in, and when you go through the traps and certain things happen, like the fuel snaps closed. Now I always have my hand on the brake, but for some reason, I always have this finger like this. I don't really know why that happens. And I've got my finger caught a couple times. Snap. It's like, oh,
Right.
yeah. So, stupid little things you learn along the way. Like, why did I do that? I don't really know why that happens, but yeah.
Now, have you had an occasion where you guys changed something in the car, or whatever, and you got out, you got back to the trailer and said that needs to get out of there now?
Not that I can think of offhand. I mean, we've had some crazy things. Like I think I might have still been in the 63, and the 63 had this little tunnel where the shifter was, and the weld broke on it. And we needed to get one more pass in. We were testing, we had to get one more pass. And I was like, we just need one more pass. What do we do? Like, we didn't have a welder with us at the time, and we were going to try to get it fixed before the weekend, blah, 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 whatever. Like, we just need one more pass. What do we do? So all of a sudden, my crew guy comes over with like a ton of zip ties, and they just zip tied it to the bars. And he's like, and I never smash it. Like, I just put, hit the gears like this. I don't smash it. And we did it. We got one more they just zip tied it. It was tight enough. And I just made my way down the racetrack. Like, just funny, the things that you'll try and make work just to do what you need to do. I mean, it wasn't a safety hazard, so we were good there, but I mean, I don't think we would have been able to race that way, but we were able to at least get it through, a test pass.
Duct tape and zip ties can fix anything.
Oh yeah, duct tape and zip ties, man. MacGyver it all. I love it. I love it.
So in your travels, has there been a racetrack that you've thought about in your head and go, we need to try that one? That's the one racetrack I really want to run at.
Well, I've never been to Vegas. I really want to go to Vegas. Never been there. I've never been to Bristol. So there's places that I want to be that I've just never been to.
Gotcha.
So, there were places that we've been to over and over, and there are some that I've just never been to that I'd love to be at. So, and those are definitely two. Vegas and Bristol are two that I really want to get to.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Geez. All right. Somebody throws you the keys to any race car on the planet Earth. What would it be for DINA PARISE?
Keys?
Well,
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I really would love to get in a top fueler. I would.
cool.
Yeah, I'd love to run a top fuel.
Now, run it as a bucket list or run it as in a perfect universe where everything is great, fun, and wonderful, do it as a competitor.
I'd love to run a top fuel for real. Like,
real.
Yeah. Now, like bucket list for fun, a monster truck.
A monster truck?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to run a monster truck. They're so cool. They're so cool.
Now, would you want the body to be in the shape of a figure skate?
Oh, Oh, I don't know. That's kind of a cool idea.
Well, if you do it, just remember who gave you the idea.
Okay, I like that. Or a big giant meatball, like spaghetti and meatballs. Oh,
There you go. There you go.
big plate of spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah. The spicy meatball monster truck.
I
dude.
could do that. I could do that.
There you
All
go.
right, let's do it.
Oh, very cool. So let's see. How about, I know you're involved with a number of different programs. Why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I will show you this. This is Hello Gorgeous. So it's restoring the beauty that cancer steals. And it is a wonderful, wonderful organization. And Kim runs it, and she's a beautiful human being. And what they do is they're starting to do the in-person more, but they also do like via Zoom and that kind of thing. They do makeup tutorials, they do makeovers for women who are dealing with cancer and helping them to just feel better about themselves, because it's a tough journey.
Right.
And they do also teach them about, because everything changes, your skin, your hair. There are some women that will keep their hair, they lose their hair, and teaches them how to deal with their scalp and whatnot. And it's Hello Gorgeous of Hope Incorporated, and they are beautiful. And you can find some of that information on my Facebook page, and we need to get it onto my website. We've having some trouble with the website, so I will get that on the website as soon as I can. We did not get it on there because we're having some issues, so I apologize. But Hello Gorgeous of Hope Incorporated, and it is the most beautiful organization, and I love them. So and they take donations. They're taking donations. I do post a lot on Facebook. But there's links on there for people to click on for donations and just different stories and whatnot.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. I know a number of girls women that I grew up with that have been in that battle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
most have come out on top.
Yeah. And if there's any salons out there that want to get involved for the makeover side of it, they can contact me, and I can get them in contact with Kim, because they're always looking for salons to get on board as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How about other stuff you got going on?
So right now we are just trying to get back in the game, and I am just working behind the scenes. I've been keeping up on the social media. You'll see me post here and there and everywhere, and I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on my story. I know there was a little bit of talk. I was talking a little bit recently about my age. So I'm 55. I had a retired racer tell me that I shouldn't be telling people my age, and I thought that was kind of funny. And I said, that's something I'm not willing to kind of bend on. We're not disposable after a certain age. So, and I want to be able to inspire people that, we're not disposable after the age of 30. So I want people that are over the age of whatever, let's say 30, 40, 50, 60, to not feel like, they're any less worthy. And, if they want to go and try something, to go and try it. Hey, and if we fail, who cares? At least you got out there and you tried. So it's, it's not the end of the road. Keep going, keep doing what you want to do.
It's cliche because everybody and their brother says it. Age is just a number. You're only as old as you feel. I'm 53 years old. Granted, I've had numerous medical issues over the past few years, but I don't let it stop me.
No, and you know what? We have to live life, because the alternative sucks. So, we be grateful for what we have, and don't worry so much about the alternative. So, and I've had marketing partner companies that have said, we love everything about you except, and it's funny because it actually was a product that you could use from the time you're a teenager till your 90s, and you could be male or female, and they loved everything about what I do and me except for my age. And that's their prerogative, it's their company, but they just were so stuck on the fact that I was not 30 or under.
Yeah.
And I said, well, hey, it's your company, so that's fine. But they were very stuck on that theory. And I said, well, that's you. I said, so we'll just have to, go with somebody who doesn't care.
Yep.
That's it.
Again, in my case, my health stuff over the past few years. I mean, I have a spinal cord injury. I'm lucky I can kind of walk, but most of the time I have to get around with some style of assistance. And I think people that when I go to the racetracks up here in the Northeast, they see me on this silly thing. They're not prepared to see me either rolling around in my wheelchair or in my little, buzz around scooter. It just kind of catches some people off guard. And it's
But you're out
interesting.
there, but you're getting out there, right? You're not
Yeah.
sitting.
When this whole thing first happened, I was in the dumps. I will not deny it. And for probably almost a year, but my wife kept telling me, and it finally got through this blockhead of mine, you're not paralyzed. You have a hard time getting around. You need assistance to get around, but you're not paralyzed. Don't let this stuff stop you.
Good for her.
Yep. Like I said, it took a long time, and I wish more people thought that instead of, again, similar to what you said with, age. Gives a crap if you're 20 or if you're 60.
Mhm.
What you want to do.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah. So we just keep trucking along, right?
yep. Oh, hell yes. All right. So you're just kind of hanging out. You're giving Stella some loving for the rest of this year. They're going to go out and kind of shake it down a little bit next year, shake the cobwebs out, and make sure everything is a-okay.
So her maintenance is all kept up. She's refreshed, her maintenance is kept up. We've made some great changes to her too. So, there's gonna be some, changes for me as
Right.
the driver, to contend with, if you will. And, so of course there'll be changes for him when it comes to tuning, which is fine. But that again, that'll all have to shake out in the test sessions, and that's what we do.
Yep.
So and it'll be a lot of new data, which is fine. And we'll just get that all going. And I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. All right. How about some sponsors that help you out with your car?
So right now we are on the hunt for marketing partners. We've had some fantastic and amazing marketing partners in the past. So we will see who we are going to be working with either again or maybe some new partners. We don't know. We're going to see how everything pans out.
Awesome. Now, obviously, again, you have a huge social media presence. So let's run down the list, young lady, of where everybody can find you on the internet. We have time, so
Yeah,
go right.
if you look for DINA PARISE, there's Facebook, there is Instagram, there is Twitter, there is, and Twitter is just kind of conversational. I feel like there's not as much that happens there, and just conversational. I feel like that's kind of laid back.
Yeah.
And then, there's the tiki-taki.
Tiki-taka.
Always fun. There's always some fun stuff happening there. Very, very dramatic there. Lots of drama. Like, you got to bring your popcorn when you head to TikTok. Not for me, of course. I'm always trying to, have a little fun. And that's the thing, like, I like to have fun. If I get people that come at me, my response is usually humorous or just nice, because I ain't got no time for fighting with nobody. No time. It's just not my way. So I'm not the social media can be very toxic. It can mess with people's mental health. And so I try not to go to that realm. What I do a lot of on social media also is I do talk a lot about safety, racer safety, safety equipment, just different pieces of safety equipment. People do ask me a lot of questions. I am a big proponent because I feel like sometimes people take safety for granted. Sometimes things are not mandated, but they are a good idea. I remember way back when we ran super gas, and the Hans device was not yet mandated, but I wore it. And I had someone in the staging lanes go, "What do you think? You're John Force wearing that?" I said, "No." I said, "But if I crumple it, I'm going to get out of it. All I need to know." And I walked away and I said, that's the thing is, it doesn't have to be mandated for you to wear that extra piece of safety equipment, or to make sure you wear it. I remember one of the series. I remember the one of the people running the series saying, if you come to the line and you're not wearing all of your safety equipment, we're just going to disqualify you right there. Now, if you have to say that to a racer, there's something wrong there. It's this, it'll never happen to me theory that just blows my mind. It's just better to be proactive than reactive, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that happened." Well, it just wear it. Just wear. And I tell this one story. We sold safety equipment for a short period of time. And I had this gentleman who came in, he was very nice. He came in and he said, he was looking at the safety equipment and he said, he did buy like a jacket. And he said, I said, "What pair of gloves?" He goes, "I don't go as fast as you. I don't need gloves." I said, "Well, what do you do for a living?" He said, "I'm a plumber." I said, "Oh, a plumber, you say?" I said, "You're a hobby racer, right?" So he raced like every other weekend or whatever. I said, "Okay." So I said, "You're aware that fire burns at 0 miles per hour, right?" And he just looked at me and I said, "I have seen with my own 2 eyes a fuel line come off at the line, a little bit of spark, and I've seen it.
That happens, yeah.
Seen it happen." I said, "So think about that. What's the first thing that's going to happen? It's going to be fire. It's going to get hot. Your hands are going to burn. And then your hobby is going to cause you to be out of work for a few months." I said, "So I'm just saying the gloves are however much they are." I said, "So it's not because I'm pushing a sale. I'm pushing for you to be safe and not be out of work for 3 months if God forbid something happens." I said, "And if nothing happens, then fantastic. If you feel like you wasted a couple $100, whatever, but then nothing happens and fantastic."
Yeah. It's like
Later.
you hear people talk about helmets. Oh my God, that $1,000. Okay, well, let's dive into this a little bit. How much is your brain worth?
Right. You're going to complain about $1,000 for a brain bucket. Okay.
Yeah. I knew a gentleman that raced locally, circle track racing. When the track that he raced at mandated you had to have at least single layer Nomex gloves. He's like, "I'm all done. I'll go find another racetrack." And I looked at him and I said, "Your daughter's married, right?" He's like, "Yeah, why?" I said, "She want to have kids?" "Yeah." I said, "So you want to be a grandfather?" "Yeah." I said, "Well, wouldn't that be what if you couldn't pick your grandkid up because you had a fire that one time, and your hands are that messed up that you can't reach down and pick up your grandchild?" Again, that'll never happen to me.
This man came back 2 weeks later. I guess he went home and wound up talking to his wife, and his wife sent him back and said, "Go buy those gloves."
Wow.
Back, and he bought them. I mean, I was happy about that, but I can't believe the convincing that it has to take to get people to wear the proper safety equipment. But on the flip side of that, the people that are asking me questions on social media about, "Hey, what kind of shoes do I wear?" Or "Where can I get gloves?" Or "Where can I get a jacket?" Or, those kind of things, me being able to say that I know they're not requiring you to wear XYZ, but just get a jacket. You have a helmet, just get a jacket and a pair of gloves. You're wearing jeans. Okay. Your car runs whatever 13s, but you have jeans on, fine, but at least get yourself a jacket and a pair of gloves. Just so that you're covered from the neck down, if I can get them to do that much, then my job is done.
I mean, we go back a number of years ago. I used again, the classic example of Dale Earnhardt. I don't remember if it was 35 or 55 miles an hour. I think it was 35 miles an hour. They calculated that he hit the wall at.
Yeah.
The next week, NASCAR mandated Hans devices,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you don't want to sound, I don't want to sound preachy. I just try to show people, it's not that hard. And listen, when it's 100 degrees out and you're wearing a snowsuit, basically.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I know it's hot. It's soupy and swampy. I get it. But think of the alternative.
Right.
That's
You're gonna climb out of that car soaked in sweat,
Yep.
from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, but
Yep.
you're gonna be climbing out under your own power.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, very cool. Well, listen, Dina, it was awesome to talk to you. I've been looking forward to this one. The spicy meatball.
I was looking forward to it
I
too.
saw that and I was just like, I have to say it at least once.
I have, yeah, I have this is my, this was we did a little photo with my skate and my boot. And then that's my spicy meatball.
That's awesome. I love it. That is so cool. All right. Well, one last question before we ship you on out of here, because I know you got some stuff going on. Do you still skate at all?
I do. I finally got back on the ice. It's taken me a little bit because I had foot surgery about a year and a half ago. And I finally got back on the ice a couple of weeks ago, and it felt pretty good. So, I mean, balance is a little different, everything's a little different now, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the ice again. There's a couple of videos of that too.
Oh, all right.
I didn't do anything spectacular. No, there was no like triple axles or nothing, but
Just making laps, right? So to speak.
yeah, it's the falling part though, that's going to leave a little more of a mark these days than, it did 20 years ago.
Well, listen, I said I've been looking forward to talking to you since we spoke, and I'm glad we got to get together tonight, hang out, talk a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little bit of racing. Um, you know, can't wait to see you abuse your husband on Instagram.
You know what? I've had quite a few requests actually, so I must be behind on my spousal abuse time. So I think I need to I think I need to get that going.
You need to step up your game a little bit, right?
Yeah, I must need to.
All right. Well, very cool. Again, Dina, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right, everybody, Dina Parisi hanging out with us tonight, talking pro mod and everything else in between. It's very cool. Very, very cool. I'll send you the YouTube link.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Have a great night, Dina.
Thank you.
All right, Dina Parisi, everybody. So one other thing before we get on, before I get on out of here, I have the results from this past weekend at NHRA Midwest Nationals at Worldwide Technology Raceway. This is race 19 of 22 in the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series. Top Fuel Steve Torrance back on the victory podium, overtaking Josh Hart. Funny Car Robert Height defeated Ron Capps. Pro Stock Bike Matt Smith over Jerry Savoie. Pro Stock Car, shocking, I know, Erica Enders defeated Dallas Glenn, who actually red lit. But the young lady is absolutely on fire. I think she came out with a 120-point lead after this weekend. Competition eliminator Adam Hickey in the dragster defeated Jason Grima, who broke. Superstock Marion Stevenson defeated Tyler Wudarzik. Stock eliminator Jimmy Hidalgo Jr. in his Pontiac GTO, really cool looking car, defeated Chris Knudsen. Super Cobb Junior Houston defeated Jeremy Mason. Super Gas Rob Kropfeld defeated Patrick DeBottis. Top Dragster, Darian Bosch over at Ed Dudley, and Pro Mod, Daniel Ferris defeated J.R. Gray. And that is all your results from this past weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, again, we will be on Tuesday nights for the next few weeks, hopefully not much further into November due to some work commitments on my part. I do ask that everybody, please, if you feel so inclined, go on to Racers News Network page. You'll see the win lights for Frankie. Save that and put it on your Facebook page or your Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Show Frankie some love. He's having a tough time with some health issues right now. Again, everybody who is in Florida, hopefully you all made it out safely. I've never been through a hurricane. I can't begin to imagine what it is. I have a few friends that live there. Pete actually has a home there. He got lucky and no damage, and didn't even lose power. And Jerron was riding out the storm at Pete's house. So glad to see Jerron was safe. And so that's it. We will be back next Tuesday night at 7:00. Have a great week, everybody. Also, the season finale is coming up this coming weekend at ATCO for the Mid-Atlantic .90 Association. So if you have a .90 car, get down to ATCO and go have some fun and race with some of the best .90 guys on the planet. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Again, DINA, PARISE, thank you so much for hanging out. It was lots of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was really, really cool. So have a great night, everybody. We are out of here. See you all next Tuesday at 7:00.